Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Zorga Alchemagic Cardfight Vanguard Overdress deck profile for post-advanced of Intertwined Stars. We got even more support for the Alchemagic deck, a deck that focuses on being able to activate 2 orders at once by binding 1 from your drop zone along at the same time as you activating the 1 from your hand. It's really cool and an awesome playstyle of a deck that focuses on setting a lot of cards up in the drop zone, so if you were a fan of Grand Blue from the original Cardfight Vanguard formats, this is definitely the deck for you to consider. I really do like the new support we got. It helps to set up more orders in your hand quickly as well, which is something the deck definitely needed. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Rye deck, our starter is still Dream Nibbling, just like the other starters for D format. When you wrote upon, if you went second, you draw a card. Our grade 1 is Rancor Chain. This card actually gives you some draw power setup on your Vanguard circle once per turn. You Soul Blast 1, draw 2 cards, choose up to 1 order card from your hand and discard it. If you did not discard, you choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. So it gives you an extra plus along with the additional potential of your starter being able to let you draw a card. And its rearguard skill is, if you played an order this turn, it gets plus 2,000 power. I normally wouldn't, specify the Ride deck cards, but there is the chance that you could Soul Blast this card and then call it to rear with your Mysterious Rain Spiritualist, Zorga. Our grade 2 is Black Tears Husk Dragon. When it's placed on Vanguard, choose up to 1 normal order from your drop zone, put it into your hand. So it's just a good way for you to recycle the order that you discarded with Rancor Chain. And on rearguard, if you play an order, it gets plus 5,000. Once again, being able to be called thanks to Zorga after you Soul Blast it from the soul. And for our main go-to grade 3, it is Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga, with this card being our main go-to grade 3, along with having it in the Rye deck. We are also running 3 additional copies of this card on your rearguard circle. On Vanguard circle, when you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different card name from your drop zone and Alchemagic, being able to then activate the own card you played on your order zone, but also the additional card you bound from your drop zone, activating both at the same time. That is what Alchemagic is. And on Vanguard circle, once per turn, you can counterblast 1 and choose a card from your drop zone and call it to rear. Being able to then have that set up means you can at least have more and more rear guards to call, along with the additional orders that we run in the deck to set up. It's your only grade 3 you run the multiple copies. There's the chance you will, mill this card to the drop zone with some of your other cards, but you have the chance to Persona Ride when you open up multiple copies of this card, so it's definitely a 4 of in the deck. For the grade 2s, with the newest grade 2 in the deck being Shadow Cloak, you run 4 of this card. It's definitely very good. When it's placed on rearguard from the hand, you search your deck for up to 1 order card, reveal it, and if your drop zone does not have a card with the same card name as that card, discard the reveal card and shuffle your deck. So with the option, you want to have it so you have it set up in your hand for when you add it to your hand. If your drop zone does not have a card with the same card name as that card, you discard the reveal card. It can set up Alchemagic if you don't have that card in your drop zone. Otherwise, it's just a searcher for that order you added to your hand. And on rearguard, when you played an order, you Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. If it was Alchemagic, choose 1 of your other rear guards, and you may return to the hand. Just a good way to recycle those rear guards, because they give you options for either setting up cards in your drop zone, or even just when placed, being able to then reduce the cost for some of your other Alchemagics. So it's a definite 4 of, because you have to place it from your hand. You can call it from the drop zone to rear guard, but then you won't have the full benefit of this card. You really only have the option for the second card skill. The other grade 2 that we run in the deck from the original set, we're still running 4 Inheritance Maiden, Hendrina. When it's placed on rearguard, you may discard 3 cards from the top of your deck. It's more drop zone setup, like I said before. With this card, there is the chance that you'll hit some other cards you may not want to hit, like your grade 3 Zorga, but you will hit some orders with this card as well, potentially, meaning you can easily Alchemagic that much more. And on rearguard, you can retire this unit and put it until end of turn. The next time you would Alchemagic an order and play it, you may choose not to pay all of that costs Soul Blast, making you can then save your soul for other cards, and also you can then just call Hendrina back thanks to Zorga with its 1 counterblast, being able to then set up even more cards in your drop zone with when it's placed, since it's not a restriction of once. It's just you have to place it and then do so. You can also recycle this card with Shadow Cloak, bouncing it back to your hand to then replace again for more of the drop, setting up more and more cards in your drop zone using it. That is it for the grade 2s. Moving on to the grade 1s, I run 4 Rogue Headhunter. On rearguard, if you play it in order this turn, it gets plus 5,000 power, being a 13k attacker on its own, or a great boost for one of your rearguards. And when this unit is placed on rearguard, the next time you would Alchemagic in order and play it, you can reduce that card's counterblast. So with it, you have once again another card that can be recycled thanks to Shadow Cloak, but also a card that you will use just for the fact that it reduced the counterblast, saving you counterblast to use solely for your Zorga. So you won't have to use any for any of your orders you play when you Alchemagic. Very, very useful altogether when you do so, because counterblasting can be taken up a lot in this deck, and there's really not a good way to countercharge with this deck either. And for the additional grade 1s, I run 1 Carry-On Processing. With this on rearguard, you counterblast 1 and bind this unit. Choose an order card from your drop zone and put it into your hand. So the biggest weakness I would say in this deck is being not able to Alchemagic because you don't have any orders in your hand. So Carry-On Processing definitely does help. As just a 1-of, you can call to rearguard thanks to Zorga, and then have this card be able to add another order from your drops into your hand just by binding it. And also 1 Fairy of Tragic Love. On rearguard, when this unit attacks, this unit boosted hits a Vanguard, you bind this unit, choose an order card from your bind zone and add to your hand. More recycle power. They both work in different ways, being able to choose an order from your drop zone thanks to Carry-On Processing, and Fairy of Tragic Love with your bind zone. I run 1 of each because there's a chance you could just send this card to the drop zone with Hendrina and then just have that easy setup back onto the field with it. The last of the grade 1s we run in the deck are 4 of the Pioneer Prevent Dragon. Just the Sentinel of choice, being able to have the less discard option, the less we have in our hand. So if you just have the 2 in your hand, you then don't have to pay the discard cost for either one to guard your opponent's attacks. For the orders we run in the deck, I still run the 3 Grief, Despair, and Rejection. It just gives 3 of your units plus 10,000 power, along with the Persona Ride, being able to have 10,000 additional power to some more, and just more of the setup with Shadow Cloak makes it all the better to either set up in your drop zone or just keep in your hand if it's already in the drop zone to use. Remember, when you Alchemagic, you do have to use different orders, so as long as you have those different orders set up, it's good for the search. I also run 2 Regurgitation of the Underworld. This is definitely one that I like reducing the cost thanks to Headhunter or Hendrina for either the Counterblast or Soul Blast, but it gives you the option to retire your opponent's cards and also then call the same grade from your drop zone to rear. We do run multiples of different ones, so whether it be Zorga, Hendrina, or Headhunter, you have plenty of options, even Shadow Cloak to call out. I also run 2 Nectar of Sensationalism. You choose one of your rear guards, so end of turn, it gets plus 5,000 power for every 5 cards in your drop zone. And if it has 15 or more, it gets critical plus 1. This is just more pressure for your rear guards, because most of the time your opponent will definitely want to try and at least guard Zorga, because there's a chance you can get a critical trigger or just even more pressure with your over trigger. And lastly, for the orders, I also run 2 Spiritual Body Condensation, just another way to call a card from your drop zone to rear. It does cost a Soul Blast, but you can reduce this cost with Hendrina, making it so when you Alchemagic, and also having the additional plus 5,000 power. That's it for the orders. Moving on now to the triggers, I run the 7 criticals. So 4 of the new Aspiring Maiden Elena, another way to build up the soul and give plus 2,000 power to a rearguard, and 3 Abyss Temptation. I said rearguard, but it also says unit, so you could potentially give your Vanguard power with this card as well. And having 7 critical means we are also running 4 front triggers. I just find fronts to be better for the overall pressure with the option of Zorga's Persona Ride, and also Grief, Despair, and Rejection. Having the additional plus 10 means 30,000 power potentially to each column with this card alone if you split up each of the 10 powers from Grief, Despair, and Rejection. And for the heal, just the 4 LG Pixie, most fitting, I would say, being an ocean-like heal trigger, with our over trigger being the Dragon Deity of Blessings, Bless the Aver. As the overall pressure, I rarely do get this card resolved, because either it'll go into the drop zone or I'll damage check it. But when I do drive check it, it definitely does help with how Zorga has pressure against my opponent with all the power we already set up in the deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll be doing more deck profiles as well from this set, so definitely look forward to it. I think we have 15 decks in total to get through, so definitely a lot to hold us over until set 4. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.